Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and in this tutorial what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about sorting. How to arrange elements in your array from either lowest to highest or highest to lowest. And unfortunately in C there's not a built-in function to do that, so we need to make our own. And there are many different techniques that you can use to sort things. I'm just going to be showing you guys a really simple example. It's called a bubble sort. So we're going to be creating a random array or excuse me, an array of random numbers. We'll say like 10 numbers or something, and then we'll sort it so the lowest or the smallest numbers are at the top, and it goes from small to big or low to high, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and get started. I just put int I, temp, and swap. So basically we're going to start with three integer variables. This I, of course, is just a counting variable whenever we use our loop. This temp, whenever we switch one number with another number, if we just try to switch it all in one shebang, then one of the numbers is going to get overwritten. So that's why we need this temp variable. It's temporarily going to store a number, and the swapped is either going to be 0 or 1, and it just keeps track of when basically when we're done sorting our list. You guys are going to see later on. So now, just to keep things simple, I'll put how many. I'm going to set this equal to 10, but basically this is the variable to say how many elements are going to be in your array. I'm just going to have 10 numbers in it, so of course 10. And I'll say that I'm a coach of a hockey team again, since I love hockey, and I'm arranging my players' goals from lowest to highest, see who's the best player. So how many. So I have an array named goals, and of course it's going to have 10 different players in it. Simple enough so far. So the first thing I want to do is actually create that array, which is going to be just random numbers. So create. Actually, I won't even add comments. I'll add comments whenever I post a source code on my forum, but for now I'll just wow, do not want to do that. My voice can be the comments. So for I equals 0, and then we'll put I is less than how many, and of course I plus plus. So this array is going to loop 10 times, and for each loop all we're going to do is take that element and fill it with a random number, and we already learned how to generate a random number. So put rand modulus. We'll say that this is going to be from like 0 to 25. No one's going to score more than 25 goals, so do that plus 1. And of course, whenever you do this in real life, you're going to have like the data from a database or a separate file, or you can even enter it manually. But right now, what I have is just an array of 10 different numbers, 0 to 25. So next thing I want to do is just make a quick bit of code just to print out the array. So print, I'll just put original list, new line, and we can actually use this loop again. So of course the print something out, printf %d, which is going to be the element that we're on. And I messed up my freaking code again, ticking me off. And goals. So right now all we did is we created a random array right there, and we just printed it out. So in this case, this is our original list. We have 20. Okay, we have some players that weren't too good. This guy scored 5, this guy scored 2. And as you can see, this is kind of hard whenever you're trying to look at your best players and your worst, because you got to find them and pick them all out. So it would be really handy if we had a way to sort this array. That was kind of confusing to say, from the least goals to the most. Alright, so let's learn how to do that right now. So the first new technique I want to talk to you guys about is called an infinite loop. And if you just put while, inside the condition put 1. Now whenever you have 1 right here, 1 is the same thing as true in programming. So this loop is going to continue forever and ever and ever until you tell it to stop. And the only way that we can tell a loop to stop is to add a break statement. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to say keep sorting this list and sorting it and sorting it, and when it's finally sorted, we're going to add that break statement, and it's going to say, okay, Now it's time to quit, and I'll show you guys how to add that, or where to add that break statement later on. So the first thing we need to do is add this swapped variable and set it equal to 0. So eventually what you're going to see is whenever this swapped variable equals 0 at the end, it pretty much means that this list is sorted. Now when it's not sorted, we're going to set it equal to 1, and it pretty much means do the loop again. Kind of confusing now, but once I write a little bit of code, you guys are going to understand what I mean. So the first thing that I need to do is actually copy this for loop, and this is going to be the main sorting algorithm. So I want to indent this. Alright, so what I'm going to say is for I equals 0, input I is less than how many minus 1, I plus plus. Now the reason that we have this for loop inside this main while loop is this. What we're going to do in order to sort this loop is we're going to take every number, and actually I'll run this right now, is we're going to take every number and compare it to the number after it. So we're basically going to say compare 25 to 2. Well, this isn't in the right order because we want the smaller numbers at the top, so switch them. So that's what this does. It compares every number to the number after it. So that's why I added this -1, because the last number, this 10 right here, it doesn't have anything after to compare it to, so we can't just go I is less than how many. So what this -1 does is it stops at the second to last number, so every number is going to have something after it. So the next thing that we need to do inside this for loop is this. So like I said, the essence of this program is pretty much going to take every number and check the number after it. And if the number is bigger after it, or excuse me, if the first number is bigger, then it's going to swap them. So I'll show you guys how to do that in code. I'm a lot better just writing code than I am talking. But we're going to say if goals I, which is the first number it's looking at, is greater than goals I plus 1, which is the number after it, then we want to switch them. Because if this number, the first number, is bigger, we want to switch them because the bigger numbers should be at bottom. And of course, if you want to sort it from highest to lowest, then just switch this around, it'll work fine. But now we need to switch two numbers, and it's not as easy as it sounds. What we need to do is we need to, well, let me go ahead and type this, and then you guys are going to see. Goal I, and what was that, goals or goals? Alright, now set this equal to, and those should be square. Don't know why I put I plus 1. And just a second, I'll explain everything that's going on. And I plus 1 is equal to temp. And set swapped equal to 1. Alright, so I apologize for keeping you guys in anticipation, but this bit right here, all of this code is responsible for swapping one number with another number. Now, the reason that we just can't go ahead and set the second number equal to the position of the first one is because whenever we do that, the first number is lost. It gets overridden. So what we need to do is we need to take that first number and store it in some temporary variable, temporary in, cyberspace. So then we can take that second number in the list and replace it with the first one, and then this original one, which was the first one, put it in the second spot. And whenever we do that, we say, okay, we swapped a number right here, swapped is equal to 1. Now the reason that we have this line of code is whenever we say we did swap a number, it must mean that the list is not in order yet, so it needs to do it again. So you see how your for loop is right here? Right outside this for loop, we need to add one more condition, and that's if swapped is equal to 0, then that's when we need to add that break statement. So this is pretty much complete. The only other thing that we need to do, or we don't even need to do this, but we probably should, is look at the sorted list And do we need to add any more? Yeah, let's go ahead and just add this. A new line, clean things up, and check it out. So this was the original list, 24, 10, 12, 8. Obviously not in order. And at the end, we get a nice sorted list. Small numbers at the top, big numbers at the bottom. Boom, check it out. And let me guys talk you through this code one last time. So up here, you know what's going on. We just created a random array of 10 elements, numbers 0 to 25. We printed it out right here. So this was the original list. Now, what this hunk of code does right here is the main meat of this tutorial. This variable just checks, is the list sorted or not? So I probably should have called this sorted, but swapped works just as well. Now, the only time that it's going to be equal to 0 is if it is in order already. If it's not and you swapped elements, then it's going to set it equal to 1. Of course, do the loop again. Now, of course, we had a for loop in here, which was pretty much the brains behind everything, that took every single number and compared it to the number after it. And it did that using this if statement right here. It said, okay, if the first number is bigger, change them around. If not, leave it be. And if it got to the end of the entire list and it didn't swap any numbers, well then that means that your list is in order and you're good to go. So once that happens, we just printed out the sorted list and boom. So I know that bubble sorts are kind of confusing at first, and like I said, there are a million different sorting techniques. Not like there isn't one that's the best, but this is probably the easiest one to understand, even though it seems kind of confusing at first. But if you don't quite get it, then just look at the code, break it down piece by piece, and after a couple minutes, you guys are going to understand exactly what's going on. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to got a freaking whooping cough. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.